and called, and suddenly it was just like if you know what a fisheye lens looks like through a camera.
But someone gave you LSD without your knowledge or without your agreement?
No, we were three guys, and we knew we were going.
Ian, we got to keep going because we got a load of calls here.
I'm trying to explain something to you.
Okay, well, let's do it.
What happens? Hello?
Yeah, we're here. We're all listening to you, but you got to do it.
What happens is that it's like a flash. All of a sudden, you're up above everything, and you're looking down as if you were looking through a fisheye lens.
If you have a question to ask it, because we got to move on.
It's not a question. I'm telling you what it's like, because I've lived through it.
Thank you very, very much for your comment, and we're going to go to Jim in Las Vegas. Jim, you're on the air.
Yes, thank you. I'm from Penn State University, but I'm in Las Vegas right now.
Right.
I was
you got a question for Dr. Mack?
Several of your phone calls. Now, look, I know there's very short time between, when I get a chance to talk and when the break is. But I would like Dr. Mack, first of all, to help me with this. I have a friend whose wife underwent a near-death experience. She wants to divorce him. Why would a near-death experience cause a divorce?
I don't know. I mean, I think that there are a number of kinds of experiences that people have that are so profound that it can change their whole life, their whole sense of their relationships. I mean, I would have to know a lot more about it, but there are a lot of people who have had abduction experiences who end up getting divorced too, because it means there's a whole new dimension in their lives which a spouse may not be able to go along with. I mean, you have to know the individual situations. I mean, I see it all the time when families have a great deal of conflict and stress when one person's had the experience and the other hasn't, and it does create strain and does require that the spouse adapt to it's as if you have a new person that they're married to. So, but I mean, you'd have to. I don't know that person's own situation, but I mean that does happen.
Thank you very much for your call. Okay, we're going to go straight to the phones. Janos in Wakefield, Vermont. Janos, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, Janos.
Hi, Whitley.
Yeah, you're on with me and Dr. Mack.
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
I've been listening for the last 45 minutes, and I tuned in. You were talking about the Illuminati and the Greys, some kind of a tie-in with.
Okay, well, we weren't actually, but that sort of came up in the conversation. But sure, what's your question?
I've been researching and pursuing the Illuminati for about 15 years. Benjamin Franklin was an Illuminati.
Yeah, it should be understood, by the way, that was an order of the Masons. I mean, it's not exactly a secret.
Well, I'm not saying it is. I was pursuing this in California when I was living there, and I worked myself up from the first degree to a 32nd.
Mason?
Not all 33rd degrees are Illuminati, but all Illuminati are 33rd for some reason, whatever.
Right. Okay, now what is your question?
Well, you gentlemen, are you assuming that the Illuminati are part of a link between intelligent forces, intelligent beings that roams the earth and have communication with a certain number of humans?
Well, this touches on a pretty good question for you, John, and the question really is this. Is there any kind of organized level of human contact anywhere in the world, and let's include the indigenous populations of the world, between us and whatever they are? Are the Greys aliens? Are they whatever they are? Is there any point at which this contact kind of works? Is it organized? Do people understand it in some way, somewhere?
I don't have any evidence for that. The closest that I ever see to that is that sometimes several experiencers, when they get together, will start to compare notes, and they will be able to identify beings beings that they've encountered that are clearly, at least in their perception, similar or the same as what someone else has encountered. Oh, I know that group, I know those, and that they'll start buzzing with each other when you get the experiencers together about certain beings that they seem to know in common. That's the closest I've ever heard to what you're asking.
My query and my quandary is if there's a common good for mankind relating to these beings, I would think it would benefit NASA and the whole space program that they would be pursuing this and bringing it more out. I mean, this is the end of the millennium, and there's a lot of conversation, feedback with this.
What are you asking here? I want to kind of help you on this thing.
Well, is there going to be a communion between us and these
I see where you're going. Okay. I don't know. There is some suggestion, and Whitley, you can comment on this because you've had the experience. There's some suggestion that the very nature of the communication with these beings varies with our consciousness. In other words, if there's an awakening, if there's I'm not talking about Illuminati now, I'm just saying there is a kind of opening of consciousness, an awakening, that when that happens, people push through the fear. You mentioned fear before.
Yes.
That the experience itself transforms, it changes, and that there is more of a kind of reciprocity. Now, that doesn't mean that suddenly all these beings are going to reveal themselves in material form on the earth. It doesn't seem to work that way. But the connection improves. It becomes a kind of trans-species communication across some sort of interdimensional divide. That seems to happen. But I don't myself. I know people say, why don't they just all show up here? And first of all, the millennium is not a millennium in the cosmos. The millennium is the millennium here because we developed a calendar based on what was considered to be the birth of Christ. And as far as I know, the millennium is not something that's been published in the universe. So it's hard to believe that the cosmos would particularly honor those dates. But as we open, I think as we broaden our knowledge, as we open our consciousness to the existence of other beings, we will have more communication beyond the earth. That's my sense.
Well, a lot of close encounter witnesses in my life, people who are friends of mine, are going in the process of getting to a whole nother level with this. I know I went through a initially terrible fear, then a period of sort of euphoria when I realized that, hey, I can kind of do this, actually, if I keep going out in the woods in the middle of the night and getting myself good and terrified, it's sort of working. I'm sort of getting somewhere. Then I found out about implants, and I went through a couple of years of more fear, and that ended with my reconciliation with the fact that the thing in my ear, which I've talked about on this program a few times, and which was, for those of you who don't know, an attempt was made to remove it surgically. I remember the night it was put in May of 1994 very well. And when the attempt was made, the thing kind of came to life and moved down into another part of my ear, scaring the surgeon and causing him to close the incision. I was then left with the fact...
Oh.
Okay, this is Whitley Strieber. I am back with my ears blown out. I just went down. The ISDN line blew. Unfortunately, as John knows very well, and as the radio network is getting used to the fact that if you're going to have a close encounter witness in the midst of all of this electronic equipment, weird stuff is going to happen a fair amount of the time.
Inevitably. I've been in lecture situations where the whole PA system blew out when there was an experiencer around. And it just, nobody knows how that happens.
Well, this radio network is discovering what that's like to do that in front of millions of people, which we do it almost every week.